Watching all the world go by now, underneath the hazy sky now. Got my ticket for the long ride. Yeah, from my park bench perspective, got that wide-eyed view on life. My park bench perspective, helping me to win the fight.
How you doing, Mike Hammer?
Carlos Figueroa. I am superb. Well, doing pretty good. Had a little knee surgery on Thursday, and way overdoing it. But
Are you on prescribed medications right now?
yes, but not the good stuff. They outlawed that years ago. I'm on just enough to ease the pain and allow me to go bowling yesterday.
Well, that shows you your dedication to our listeners. That even injured, you're willing to pull up a seat on the bench.
We're going to be, yes, I have my ottoman in front of the bench, my proverbial imaginary ottoman in an ice pack.
Well, Mike Hammer, we're going to handle one of my favorite topics today, which is music. I love music. The sounds of music, the rhythms of music. I have no musical talent myself, and so I'm in awe of those that do. But let's start out our conversation.
Okay, the people that you're in awe musical wise. I've tried to play guitar and I'm tone deaf, so it's like the old square peg in a round hole. You just keep trying, and it's whatever. Can't carry a tune. Just ask my music teacher, who kept hitting the piano chord key and kept saying, "Hum this song." Just this note. And I kept humming it. She goes, "No, this one." I go, "I am." She goes, "You're not even close." Not even close. And then there's people out the hallway laughing because they gathered around to hear it, and that was fun. But okay.
All right. So music,
people like Stevie C. Anderson that plays great piano, every year won the talent contest with the Snoopy's theme song.
we had a lot of music people that were very talented that we went to school with, and they're from St. Louis Park, and we'll get into that because I think this will be a multi-episode topic. But I want to kind of start out with how music came into your life. So I'm going to ask everybody here listening, pop in on the comments and let us know, what was your first album? What are albums? Albums are like big CDs. What are CDs? Well, imagine if streaming came on a disc. But anyways, what was the first? Do you remember the first one you bought?
Yeah, or it could be a 45. I want to remember when we could venture, because I think like Shopper City had a record section. Shopper City for a lot of people that might remember that. And then Down in the Valley seems like it's been there forever.
Yeah, it has
I think
been.
it was the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And going there, but my sister Michelle, she would get the 45s like Andy Gibb,
nice,
and the Bee Gees, and Amy Gibson. Is it?
Well, you're thinking of Debbie Gibson. That would have been way later. That would have been when you were in college. But
trying to think of some of the ones, because she'd stack up those 45s on that little record player that came in a suitcase, and you had to put the cylinder on there, and her and Leo would jam to them all day. But
what about you?
I want to say the one I do remember buying was the Who's Tommy.
Okay, that's a good purchase.
For some reason, it was probably the last thing someone talked to me about, how cool it was, the Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
But I also remember getting the Doors, and getting the Rolling Stones.
I remember buying Rolling Stones' Some Girls.
You got it, and then I went and got the live double album. But that was a lot of money, actually.
It was, but you got, 8-10 songs?
Double
my first one, there's the one I tell people and the one that's true. So the one I tell people is Fleetwood Mac's Rumours, which is one hell of a good album to start out with. I listened to the hell out of that album.
Ocean Spray.
But if truth be told, the very first album that I purchased was Sean Cassidy. I was like 10, okay? I was like 10, but the very first album I purchased... Well, actually, that's not true, because I don't know that I purchased it, but I do remember we had the Casey Jones and Roundhouse Rodney album in our house, too.
Oh.
But that's not music. So
I do remember Saturday Night Fever soundtrack.
Oh, that was huge.
We were staying alive.
Wow. How long have you been sitting on that one?
I don't know. It just comes into my head.
We don't have a video podcast, but he has a look on his face like he's so proud of himself for that line. It's amazing.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you get stuck on something, and the Bee Gees has been popping
So
up,
would you say your older sister was your first big influence, or what was it on the radio, or?
Yes. My first introduction lived across Elliott, went over there, and somebody carved into the wood door the Rolling Stones. And I'm like, well, what is the Rolling Stones? I love my mom, R.I.P., but she goes, I think it's one of those music outfits.
One of those music outfits.
And then somebody...
The Stones were big. When we were in high school, like those like Rolling Stones lips, ironed on or sewed on patches were everywhere.
The funny story is, when I was like in 5th grade over there too, and I didn't know what this meant because I hadn't experienced that in 5th grade, but I had bad allergies in the summer, and always spring, summer, fall, whatever, seasonal allergies, and my eyes were always bloodshot, and somebody came up and said, are you stoned? And I'm like, I don't know, does that have something to do with the
Rolling Stones?
But I'm not. And then, well...
This is actually, we are going to have a special guest in some of these music episodes coming up who is from a younger generation, and I want to ask, I think I did ask her about Billie Eilish, because Billie Eilish is somebody who maybe has allergies, but always looks stoned to me. I could not identify a Billie Eilish song if you paid me $1 million, but the girl always looks really stoned.
A lot of those girl singers have trouble. A lot of them have gotten past it and gone on, but Whitehouse.
Well, I mean,
Did you know there's a documentary out, just to segue real quick, about Billy Idol?
Yeah.
How he's luckily still alive. Because he was big with this. I mean, I kind of knew he came out of the era, but he was like the experimental pony with the Sex Pistols. And interesting.
I actually have now Cliff Clavinland, because just last night, I was curious about the song that Billy Idol did a cover of by Tommy James and the Shondells, Monet Monet. And I was thinking, what the hell is Monet Monet? So I look it up, and it's a very disappointing story. Apparently Tommy James, or the Shondells, one of them, had a tune. They had the music. They just could not come up with the words. And he's staying in New York, and he looks across the street at the building, and it's the Mutual in New York building, Monet. And he's like, Monet, Monet. And like, that fits. And that's kind of disappointing, I think, to me, because it's like, well, maybe it was a girl you loved, or it was a horse you had, or it was your first car. But no, it's just the name of the building across the street.
The song that was let down. It's funny, I, like you, I believe, enjoy a lot of different music.
Yep.
And I don't apologize like I used to, because my heavy metal fans would be like, how could you, early on, how do you like Journey and REO? And I'm like, because those are chick songs, dummy. And then it's
no. These are fighting words. I can't let you say Journey are chick songs. Journey's the greatest rock and roll band of all time.
But when we had high school, heavy metal was it.
Yeah, I get it.
AC/DC has chick songs, but they're cutting right to the chase. There is no foreplay. They're just bam. And I was watching on my pain medication, watching Bohemian Rhapsody came up.
Okay, great movie.
And it's
great
fun.
band.
It's great. It's fun to watch, and they took liberties, they say, but two of the band members were on set most of the time. So we're saying it's pretty accurate. And whenever I finish watching that 15 minutes they play at Wembley, I go watch the real one.
Yeah.
And it's actually more theatrical, the real one, than that one. And you watch it like Brian May sitting there and Roger going, for real going, I can't believe we're pulling this off.
Yeah.
Just look at him. He's on fire. And then also they're like, well, I got to do really good.
Yeah.
And Brian May's been one of those overlooked guitarists.
Well, also PhD. He's got a PhD in hard science.
Oh,
Brian May does.
PhD, And so did Johnny, the bass player, but I can't think of his name now. He was an electrical engineer too. Yeah. And the other one, Roger was going to be a dentist.
Yeah, he was. Interesting that you brought up different kinds of music, because I actually love all music. And we'll go through some of our favorite shows on a different episode, but they're going to be pretty eclectic. And one of the reasons, I was into, like I said, pop music and then rock and roll, and, 70s music is my jam now. But my cousin, Susana, Susie Garcia, introduced me to this band when I was about 13 years old, the Ramones. And it blew my mind, and she introduced me to Iggy Pop, and she introduced me to the Sex Pistols, and I was like going, holy cow, this is...
Nancy?
It was all of it. I remember from the Sid Vicious's Sid Sings solo album, he had a padlock as a necklace. And I don't know if you remember, as a freshman, I used to wear a padlock as a necklace. I guess, I don't know, it was hero worship of a heroin addict, Sid Vicious. But
Lou Reed came from that too. He was a little bit torn down punk.
I actually really love rap music. One of the shows that I've seen, I saw the Two Live Crew live at the Varsity Theater in Minneapolis. And then if I was to rate top 10 best shows, top 5 I think would be one that Pam got me to go to, which is George Strait. We saw Little Big Town, Chris Stapleton, and George Strait. It was like 5.5 hours out in Arizona. And it was amazing. It was fantastic. It was a great, great show. So I just love music.
Yeah. Remember about great shows. Remember this is 20 years ago or something. There was a friend of ours got tickets to The Who, and the next day it was Paul McCartney.
Yep.
The ex pounced on The Who tickets for whatever reason, and I got Paul McCartney tickets. Yeah. I asked you and Chuck.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, this is great. This is a date concert. I'm going to my best buds, going to a date concert. We stood there. And you guys even skipped going out to
free gaming?
No, skipped going out during.
Oh yeah, during. Oh, you're saying yes. The cigarette addicts didn't go out and smoke cigarettes during it.
Because we sat there going, "This is amazing." I can't believe he was like in your living room, talking to you, and they had all the tributes to Georgia just died, and John and his first wife. It was so that show was goosebumps. Yeah. I mean, he would start playing Yesterday, and you're like, oh my God, Paul McCartney is playing Yesterday right here in front of me. It's crazy. And it's always funny. People are like, well, his voice ain't as good. Well, you can't run anymore. Exactly. What are you talking about? Things happen over time.
You know what? It's 10 times better than yours will ever be.
Your ears are bad. Mine got worse too. It sounds the same because my ears are bad.
You know what? This is actually where it's beneficial that I don't have a tremendous ear for music, because to me it sounded fantastic.
It sounded great. I think it did too. And the XL was where we're at, and I was early on, and it's always been known for good music. Yeah. One of my other just because of the history around it. Why did I say history that way? I don't know. The history, historical parts for our lives.
Yes.
The first Neil Young concert we went to.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Because we waited in January at the Daytons at Ridgedale, back when you'd wait all night for tickets.
No, sir. No, that's not what happened. We were, that was for Neil Young, we were out all night at the Met Center. At the Met Center, and I remember our good friends. A couple of them had vans. They had old Northwestern Bell vans,
yes,
and they had like the back seat of a car just thrown in the back of the van, and so they hauled it up all the way from the parking lot to the line around the Met Center, and we're laying on that. I think you and I, at a certain point in time, I said, yeah, cold, my feet hurt, I'm Cuban, what am I doing here? And we just left. We just went across the street to the Thunderbird Hotel. And I remember kind of sitting in a hallway with my feet up on a radiator grate. But we ended up getting tickets, and then it was a fun show, and everybody hated half of the show.
Yeah, well, I remember we got back in line, and people back then were like, oh my God, somebody can't hold your spot. It was like... It's going to be 15, 18,000. We'll all get in. We're pretty close. We were like in the top 20. And that was, you're getting tickets as the sun's coming up.
Exactly.
You're like, and when are you going to go home? Oh, go to sleep for the day. I'm a teenager. But the show, because they came with the shocking.
Yeah, it was, so, Neil Young, who is a musician who, he does what he wants to do. Nobody tells Neil Young what to do. Neil Young is going to do what he wants to. And this is actually really fascinating to me because it's the exact opposite of comedy. How does this? Patton Oswalt tells this story, and I don't know who tells it originally, but he goes, if you do a comedy show and you do it exactly like your album, the customers will be happy, but they'll never see your show again.
Yeah.
With a musician, it's opposite. If you don't play the songs people know that you sang, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
And so Neil Young did half the show as a band called the Shocking Pinks. Yeah. They were like a 50s rockabilly band, and it was 50s rockabilly music, no Neil Young music to be found. And then, I don't know if it was the second or first half of the show was a regular Neil Young concert.
Yeah.
And people didn't like it, and Neil Young really didn't give a shit.
Iggy came out with the Shockings and kind of in the middle of the second set came out with them. And that was, it had to be postponed. So this was like in the middle of July. Like
it was a summer. I remember the actual show. I remember it was postponed, and I remember the show was on July in the summer. Yeah. And I remember part of the tailgating. Part of it is I enjoyed myself a great deal during that tailgating.
We got one of the more exploratory drugs at the time there.
We did.
It was hot. Back to the Thunderbird for different reasons, because we jumped the fence again to jump in the pool, because we got there like 8 hours before the show. Yeah. That was a good idea. Yeah. And I remember somebody stumbled down the stairs on the way to the seat. There was some sawdust being used. A lot of sawdust. That's what they used to
clean up the messy, sloppy stuff that comes out of people.
Yeah, and then not only clean up, just to kind of tamper it down.
Tamp it down, make it not as slippery.
And then I remember the second half of the show, a lot more clarity, and it was great. So that's when he did most of his original Southern Man, Comes a Time.
No, that's the only time I've seen him. You've seen him multiple times, haven't you?
Seen him a lot. Saw him twice with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yeah.
And that was fun, because Neil Young's an antagonist, and
well, don't you think that
Stills wasn't that...
A tremendous amount of talent comes with a tremendous amount of idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, and pissed offness. Yeah. But Stills was a great guitarist. Yes. When I saw him with just Crosby, Stills, and Nash, he kind of sat back. Well, Neil would get out front, and he has a fan blowing on him, and he's always egging him on, like, I'm going to wind out here, because if you like Neil, you're going to... There's going to be a wind out every song. Yeah. There's no song that it doesn't tear into a solo. No.
Do you remember one of, every weekend when we were kids, me, you, and Kenny, we'd either go to one of the Dales or we'd go downtown to see a movie. And we saw, actually, Russ Never Sleeps at the Orpheum Theater in downtown Minneapolis when we were little kids. And I didn't know Neil Young I'm like, I don't know, he's bringing out a harmonica and they're cheering. Why is that happening?
And he needs to comb his hair and he needs to take a shower.
And when he gets real big, he'll get an electric guitar. Remember that?
Yep.
So
that was okay. That's okay. You go again on album and stuff.
Yeah. For me, so when I found out about the Ramones, I would go. So this was before Knollwood was an enclosed mall.
Yeah.
It was like it's actually kind of how it is now. But there was a music land, a standalone music land, kind of where that shoe store is now at Knollwood. And I remember going there and ordering, I remember getting the Ramones It's Alive, Japanese import, and I had to pay them like $25, and it took like 6 weeks to come in.
Wow.
And you mentioned Shopper City. I remember getting the Sex Pistols Anarchy for the UK at the Shopper City in St. Louis Park, of all places.
Interesting. Shopper City, because it was... Then becomes Zaire Shopper City because some guy named Zaire.
Hey, let me ask you this, as long as this has nothing to do with music, but I remember something no one else remembers. So Zaire Shopper City, right?
Yep.
They used to have, back in the day, kiosks.
Yeah.
Where you could bring in the tube from your TV, because there used to be a light bulb in your TV, and if that went out, you'd have to change it.
Yeah.
But there were lots of different light bulbs. Like, think about it like connectors to your phone, and you had to go and they had like a little chart, and you kind of matched it up to what yours looked like, and then you would just reach in underneath and pull out of the drawer the one, and then you would plug that light into your TV, and it would work.
It would work.
Yes. Do you remember those machines?
I remember those machines. We had the Oregon Trail to talk about.
You have died of dysentery.
We remember standing there effing with the antenna for hours.
Oh yeah, or put aluminum foil on it, and once again, we're just going to go with the flow here, because this is something. When cable first came to St. Louis Park, there were a lot of different ways. Like when we first got it, it was like a telephone wire connected to a little box that you would have across the room, and that was wasn't really remote control because it's wired, but they also had these cable boxes where it was like a slider. You would slide it, from left to right to get your channel. And this is where the first kid I knew that had remote control in his house was Mike Hammer. Because he'd lay on his sofa with a hockey stick and he'd change the channels by sliding that slider.
Because the cord was only so long, so it came halfway from the TV to the couch. And you weren't going to get up every time and change it. That was redundant.
You are a problem solver, my friend.
Yeah. Talking about, we'll get back into music, but talking about TV. And now we're really spoiled because if it takes too long to download, or all of a sudden they'll do this, you can watch it here, and if you don't finish it, they go, oh, now you got to pay for it because you didn't finish it. So it's
or the 30 seconds of commercials, and they give you the thing. I'm like, oh my God.
Tell me now.
How am I going? Yeah, exactly. I can't survive 30 seconds of commercials.
And then we talk about how difficult it is sometimes. I just want to go get a coloring book and sit in the corner, because it's difficult to watch TV, especially if you're trying to find a sports game. Yeah. Well, it's a big game between the Wild and somebody else, and it's like, I can't find it. Why? Because, it's blacked out in your area. Well, of course, because we'd like to watch it the most. But I was thinking about that, how we've circumvented TV to watch shows. Yeah. And way back when cable came out, it started from the east to west, came out of Minneapolis. So people by the Fernhill area over by the City Hall and stuff moving. And you'd hear it'll be in your neighborhood in a week or two or three. And they do it up the telephone poles. And if you didn't want to pay, if you didn't want the movie channels, they put these filters on it.
You can climb
that looked like almost the diameter of a quarter and about inch and a half, 2 inches long, and they put in each one.
People discovered
working at K-Gas, and telling Steve Foken, R.I.P., about this. He's like, "Oh, I'll come over. Let's go over to your house after work." And he was 4 years older than us, so he was a cool guy. Still was, but he runs up the telephone pole, takes those filters off, and then I'm thinking to myself, besides my friends that'll do it for free. I'm thinking there's $10 business commission for everybody going up there, because all you needed really was two people, because
the statute of limitations has run, so I'm okay with you proceeding.
Those spikes in the telephone poles started at about 10 feet, so you needed to boost up there. Yeah. And then when you go up there, you're like, don't hit the wires. It was always a good idea, good suggestion. People don't fall. So
with cable, that was actually we first got cable in St. Louis Park pretty early on.
What could you see on cable that at that age was interesting?
Oh, I know where you want to go, but I want to talk about the music station, because actually before it was MTV, there was a jukebox station. And that was the first time you got to see that really first, because you'd hear the music on the radio, but it was always background. So you'd watch videos and you'd start to learn bands and personalities and marketing and stuff, and then that expanded my world a little bit in terms of music, was watching that. And then there would be shows like Friday Night Videos, and then bands were going crazy trying to do better videos and spend more money on them. And then
one local artist that really had an early video when we were sophomores, and it was like, wow, this is cool. And it was, the great song was Prince.
Yes.
Little Red Corvette.
Yes.
That video, that song, that dance, that thing. And that was one of the earlier albums. I remember getting that one going. Once again, my heavy metal friends would be like, wow. And I'm like, because he's an artist.
I remember, I think I started with Purple Rain, but then, Dirty Mind. And there's just some really, really good music, some Stream Talent. And, we went to high school with, I think some of our classmates can be seen in Purple Rain in various scenes.
Yeah. So what, you just did what album? God, I have a 5-second memory.
Oh, you're trying to throw structure on this this episode, and everybody listening will say there's been no structure, but I'll throw out there Purple Rain.
Purple Rain, great album. I remember 2 albums in there. One back to Neil Young. Yeah. When we got the tape for Neil Young Comes a Time.
Is that Harvest?
Well, there was a couple.
Neil and the Damage Done, and
There was a couple on there.
Do you want?
Okay, well, actually, what I'm going to go to was Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Led Zeppelin 4, because at the time they were all out, and that one had Stairway to Heaven, which was, I guess, in that era, anybody that came in the guitar store.
Yeah, that's what they want to learn how to play.
And they started playing that rep, they'd kick them out. Yeah. Get out of here. Get out of here. Everybody wants to do that. But, so that and REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, REO Speedwagon was big.
High Infidelity. That was,
Huge
every
when we were in
song on there
school.
was...
That a lot of really, really bad lyrics turned to poetry young ladies receive from their boyfriends.
Yeah.
After listening to an album all about feelings.
Yeah.
We didn't know quite what to do with that.
It was just one that was played a lot, and
So did you ever listen to a Run DMC or Beastie Boys or anything like that? Were you exposed to that at all back then, or?
There was some. There was. I remember. I learned about Guns N' Roses through you, and they'd been out for a while. I just was in high school too. Got kind of sidetracked by the Dead.
Yes,
and that kind of hijacked me for a while. God bless them. And
we actually do need a guest of the pod to come do a Dead episode with Mike, because I know nothing.
Yeah, we'll get them.
I'm in that camp that says I don't get it, but that's okay.
You could be like Smitty when he goes to a bar and he loads the jukebox up for 2 hours with the Dead.
It doesn't bother me. It just I don't get
yeah.
it. There's a lot of things in this world I don't get. Trust me.
Yeah,
So Mike Hammer.
Yeah.
What was your first concert?
I want to say it was probably the first big concert was that Neil Young show when we were.
We were seniors by then, dude.
Oh, no. I thought we went to an earlier one of his. What I do remember going with Brian Mads was to Devo.
Shut up.
Devo down at the
loved to
Armory.
see Devo.
It was funny. He called me up, got tickets to Devo, and kind of knew who they were. And it was the freakiest, one of the most interesting shows I went to. But
Devo, see, that's good. Wow, Bare Naked Ladies, that was much later in life, but I saw a show of theirs at the Orpheum, and it was a great show.
They put on a great show. I saw them at XL Center, and it was the first event there because there was still sheetrock dust everything, but it was great, and they just rocked.
Have you gotten any? I'm just all over the place, but have you gotten any tickets to this new amphitheater? They got a ton of great shows lined up.
Which one?
The one they call it Mystic Lake. It's up by Canterbury.
Well, I know the Abbott brothers are coming there with
Huge.
Nelson for the Outlaws.
Guns N' Roses. I mean, there's just a ton of bands that are coming to it. I'm old, right? I'm 60, so my number one is wonder what the traffic and the parking situation is going to be. That's in my mind. I'm like, I want to wait until people have gone and they tell me what the traffic and parking situation is. Either that or what's the good hotel to stay at where I don't have to worry about driving.
Or win the lottery and get a driver. There's that. But
Tiger Woods, if you're listening, I'm available to be your driver.
Yeah.
I cost a lot less than a DWI attorney.
In between calls to the president, I take your call.
He'd take my call. But he's dating, I mean, in all fairness, he's dating the president's niece or something, right? I mean, we don't go there, but I mean, it's not like you randomly picked a guy and it's like, he's like.
But in South Park, they would call up the president too because the president was Garrison. And he would tell Stan and Kyle what to do, and Randy Marsh, the unsung hero of the show. But I remember seeing with you, we were in our adult years, but Paul Simon.
Yes, we
Bob
saw
Dylan.
We saw Paul Simon, Bob Dylan. Show. That was I mean, that's the show where I ended up in the medical tent.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about concert casualties on another show. We've all had
I've got several of them actually.
The survival parts.
That actually is a good show topic. All right, Mike Hammer. What do you think people should do after they get up from the bench and they start walking and their feet start hurting? What should they do?
Whoa, you need to secure yourself some of the best insoles out there. Go to footpainauthority.com, get yourself these wonderful insoles. They go in boots, heels.
And you can just pop them right in there?
Pop them right in and out.
And they come in like in different,
sunshine.
like different sizes? You just put in your shoe size and you get them?
We put in the shoe
I just said that.
Size. I could say that. And yes, also trimmable if it's not exactly. Yeah, they're great. They're fun. And what can people do to show their interest in you?
You know what? Right now, go to systemsunderpressure.substack.com. Actually, I've got a section there now called The Ballpark Barrister.
That is a great read. I've had people reach out to me that I haven't talked to in a while from the baseball world going, kind of one of those, nobody really wants to talk about it, but he wrote it out there, and it's a great read.
Yeah, no. So, I love baseball. We're going to have a long labor dispute come December, and I'm just trying to provide people with some information because, things like collective bargaining or lockout, what do those words mean? And I try to explain it in a way that you don't need to be a lawyer to understand.
God, we barely touched the music.
We barely touched the music. We got a lot more music episodes.
Frank Zappa, old school, the crooners, the show.
Oh, there's so much. And you know what? I really do want to lean into some of the great musicians that we went to school with. I mean, St. Louis Park has a tradition of a lot of very, very talented musicians, and we want to give them justice. And if any of you talented St. Louis
Control.
You know what? Our friend and neighbor Mike Schultz.
Yep.
And but if any of the folks that have a musical background from St. Louis Park, we'd love to have you on the show. So reach out to us.
Yeah, it's music is like we say, it puts you in a place and time, stirs the memories, and it's just great. Music and dogs tell you where you were in life.
You know what? That's something that you and I have talked about, and we'll have to talk about on the episode. But for right now, I think we've shared enough of our perspectives.
And thanks for joining us on the bench.
Carlos
and Hammer, out.
Watching all